Can't really back up far enough. Hey everyone, welcome back to the shop in 2025. Not much has changed in the last 2 days. Excuse me. Burping some vegetable lasagna after taking care of my Rockstar addiction. I don't know if it's an addiction. It's not an addiction. I just enjoy it. And change my alarm so it's not as obnoxious for everyone. So tonight we're going to do some prep on the Miata. We are going to, by the way, I hope everyone had a fun New Year and everyone was safe and no DUIs. I heard about some really nasty vehicle stuff in New Orleans and in Vegas and not nice people doing not nice things. So hopefully everyone's okay from that. And yeah, those are pretty terrible. But remember, that's a very small portion of the world. So don't be afraid of that stuff and enjoy. I had a very nice time with some friends up in Tampa. We watched. I talked about it on my personal channel. We watched the figure eight races at Showtime Speedway in Tampa and the figure eight bus racing. And these are full-size school buses. And it was exactly as redneck as you think it is. And they don't stop. I mean, once those guys crash into each other, they move the shit out of the way and they keep going until there's a winner. It was pretty intense, and the cool part about it, and the part in me that I don't think a lot of people there were thinking, but at least people, just the spectators, not the people in the pits. What I really wanted to know was of these cars that are completely beat up, and these buses that, like, there was one bus that would come around and he's hanging a hard right, and the whole body of the bus is about 20 degrees. Like, there's no body mount bolts on the right side of the bus. The whole body is just trying to fall off. But these things are pretty much bulletproof. They run the entire time. You have to, hit something, which obviously happened. It's a figure eight race. Watching two buses slam into each other at about 45, 50 miles an hour is pretty interesting. That's a lot of force, man. That's a lot of force. So what was interesting to me is how they build these cars and bulletproof them for these races, because they do heat after heat of just the regular roundy round. It's kind of an oval, and then they do then if you win your heat, then you advance, et cetera, and they break it down till it's like 15 cars or whatever, 16 cars, and then they go for the big figure eight there. But these guys really bulletproof these cars. They're most of them are Crown Vics. There's there's a few other classes too, but it was cool to see those guys, come back after every race. They would have one guy who was doing the wobbly wheel, and someone obviously forgot lug nuts on the back, and he went down into the pits. They zoomed some lug nuts on, and he came right back. So that was kind of interesting. But I'd like to know what these guys do to bulletproof their cars. It's kind of the mechanical engineering side of me more than the watch shit blow up side of me. The other fun part was seeing the different classes that these guys race in. And the most fun one, at least for me, and I wish there were more cars in there, but there were only the two. It was a brother and sister, and they're called Bandoleros, and they're actually, I believe they're 250, 4-stroke, little small, like they're go-karts, but with full bodies, like roof and cage and everything, but they're very, very small. The other fun thing to watch was the Legends races. Those guys there were only 3 of those. One guy, his car didn't start, so it didn't keep going. But those 3 guys, they were absolutely hammered down. It was 2 brothers in the lead and then their friend in the back. And they were having a great time out there. So those cars were a lot of fun to watch. I don't normally get to see those. Usually I'm watching GT cars or things like that. And so it's interesting to see the different models and different classes that they're racing in. And then of course you go up to the Crown Vics and you go to the buses, and man, the buses are just absolutely bonkers. I mean, these guys are. There's one guy. He had a short bus. He had probably a, I don't know, 12 passenger, maybe 14 passenger bus, and they're full size like Bluebird school buses. But he had the shorter version, and he's actually drifting it around, 2 of the 4 turns, and it was pretty cool to watch. And they interviewed him at the end. He won the race eventually. And they interviewed him at the end, and they said, "Hey, were you trying to drift it around those turns?" He's like, "No, that's just how it was, and I was just trying to control the bus." So it was cool to watch. Definitely cool to watch. Went down to Tampa Pier and watched all the fireworks down there. And then some waitress at a cigar bar thought my Rockstar was empty, even though it was a little more than half full, and took it. And that's when I went home. So yeah. But I wasn't upset because they were cleaning up tables and they were taking care of a lot of stuff. There were a lot of people in downtown Tampa, a lot of very drunk people, but also just a ton of people. And it was cool. It was really nice. We met a lot of new car people in the Tampa area, which was really cool. So definitely a good New Year. Hopefully you guys had the same thing. But that doesn't stop us here, us being me, because please don't forget, it's just me. I'm doing the camera, I'm doing the audio, I'm doing all the work. There's no one else here. There's the gators outside, whatever. So yeah, I appreciate you guys and all the new subscribers last year. That's super cool. I'm hoping to do a whole bunch more this year too. That would be great. I'm glad you guys are enjoying what I'm doing. So what I want to do is since I have parts coming for the Miata, I'm going to do a little and this is kind of a dangerous gray area because you can do the disassembly and then parts take a little while and then take a little longer, and then the parts come in and you forgot how to put the shit back together. So you're like, oh wait, this bolt it's the longer one. Yeah, you forget that stuff. So with the hoses, it's actually pretty nice because here, I'll show you. These are the 2 of the new ones. So the hoses are preformed. So they have, this goes in a very specific spot. This has a very specific angle on him, and he goes in a very specific spot. This guy is super specific. So he goes in a very specific spot. You can't really screw it up. You can't do it upside down or anything like that. So that's why I'm not too worried about the power steering stuff. The lines are very straightforward. Those are all the new ones. So I figured tonight, since we're waiting on parts, we would take apart the old ones. I also want to see if we can find out where the leak because it is still currently leaking. Also, I got to trim my nails, but I'm going to put on some bitch mittens just because I know it's going to get gross. Oh, and by the way, on New Year's Eve, I took the truck. I did not take the Viper because it's kind of amateur night, and God forbid anything does happen. I'm in a 6,000-pound truck, and I'm not in my super nice car. So, more burps. And for anyone wondering, these are bitch mittens. They're just nitrile gloves. You're going to make a mess when you're dealing with any kind of fluids. So just in order to keep the hands kind of clean, we'll put these on. It's, if you don't want to use them, you don't have to. Oh, who's here? Hey, Liz. I will grab a light. I'll put it up here. Actually, it's an aluminum hood, so I'll have to put it somewhere else. But I'm going to bring you guys over, and I'm going to give you kind of an overview. I'm not really going to be in it, but you're going to see my hands. So one of these days we'll have multiple cameras and a DJ and strippers and pyro and all that stuff. But for now, it's just me and the laptop, and I'll get you guys in here as close as possible. So hopefully that's going to work out. So bring you guys over. Oh, and the one other thing that I have here that's not a normal tool, I have an old Amazon box that I'm going to put the lines in just because they're going to leak. They're going to drip stuff out, even though the system's pretty much empty. And I don't want the stuff. I got enough stuff going all over the floor. So we'll put the hoses in here. Can also save them and double check them. And if you want to, you can keep them as spares. So, of course, I put that box exactly in the way, right? Like literally exactly in the way. So I'll bring you guys around to the front, because we're going to be working basically straight down here. So I have to take off the intake tube, goes over to the throttle body and the power steering reservoir, and then the rest of the power steering lines up top. We'll see how far down I can get with that. But the other thing that's fun is working against this prop rod. I don't really have another prop rod to hold the hood open, at least nothing I trust. I'm just looking around just in case. I don't really have anything adjustable to put the prop rod over there, but I'll be okay. So we'll get this guy off. I basically just need, I don't need this whole thing out of the way. I don't need the heat shield or the MAF or any of that out of the way. I just need the tubing off. So this is our cruise control vacuum line. He comes out this way. It's just on clips. And he has a little white mark here. Tells you where to clip it. Stash him over out of the way. I'll go grab some light so you guys can see what I'm doing down here. I'm also going to get some other tools. Somehow, I'm already missing the 10 mil here. No. No, I'm not. Okay. And where does that get from? So, oh, we need lights. Is this guy still green? Okay. So I'm going to see maybe, whoa. Maybe I can hang him sort of right there. Does that lighten things up for you guys pretty good? I sure do miss my power tools. This is an 8 mil, and the one on the other side is a 10 mil. So I'm going to go around here again. Oh, and I forgot I still have this PCV line here. Grab him with a pair of pliers. Quick. Yeah, like really nice hose clamp pliers. I don't have those. Missing all the good stuff here. So. Actually, this is the breather hose for, this is the PCV. It has to come off. I think that's about it. Yeah, he is the IAC vent. or intake for the idle air control. Now, this intake tube is a little different from 1/8. I cut off the Helmholtz resonator and sealed it off. The Helmholtz resonator is usually a big bulb that sticks down here. But I'm not looking for a particular sound from my intake. Whoops, we lost the clamp already. So I cut that off a long time ago. If you want to, you can look up Helmholtz resonator. Most modern cars have it. All right. So I'm going to be going back and forth here a little bit. Next off, we're going to do our hose clamps for the power steering reservoir. We've got two 10 millimeters down here. We also have a ground wire that is folded under here and zip tied down there. So we will get 2 hose clamps off and another hose clamp off. So we get the hoses off and then get the I have a long set of needle nose. So let me see if I can get you guys down here. Who else? Yep, lighting looks good. Okay, good. That means audio is working good too. So these are long nose pliers. You can get them at Harbor Freight and get them online. I got these actually as a set for like, I don't know, $20. It was a 5 set and it had a whole bunch of different ones. So that is 1. That is 2. And this one, I remember this guy was being difficult last time. Did we bring him? I think we brought him backwards. Now, the other thing that's interesting is this hose has different shielding. This high pressure hose coming out of the power steering pump has different, like I got to reuse these clamps because the hose that I got obviously didn't come with those, the attachment clamps, but there's also different, it has foam padding down there. And I need to reuse that foam padding. I don't need to, but I want to reuse that foam padding. So let's see if we can get these hoses off. A good way to do hoses, especially old ones, is to twist. Now this guy is still full. But we have our cat litter down there and we know where it's going. If you twist the hose, and if you can twist it by hand, that's great. If not, if you can get a pair of pliers and set them to the widest setting and just grip on the outside of the hose and twist it and break that seal, that will really, really, really help you get it off of whatever tubing you're trying to get it into. Because the hoses do get hot. Okay, so this guy's off and I got the spring clamp out of there too. So this guy, I can also see where my power steering is going to drain out of. So I can come down here, get another hose clamp off. This is another one of the big ones. And I can move, I have cat litter down there already. This box will continually be in my way tonight. So I'm going to come down here and move some of that cat litter over to where it's dripping. Normally I'd have a catch pan, but of course I have half a dozen catch pans in Ohio. I have none down here. So we can get our, oh wait, we have to get that ground wire off. And there's a zip tie right there. See, I told you, there's going to be a mess. We'll just grab a shop right quick. And oh, come on. All right. Just a little zip tie. He was on the grounding wire. We'll get all the garbage in a little bit. So we have 2 of our 3 hose clamps off. One of the other hose clamps is actually on the hose. Come on, buddy. Okay, there we go. And everything's going to drain down there. And I'm not even going to pull it up and over the car. I'm just going to drain it into the cat litter. And that should take care of most of it. Okay. Actually, not that much came out. More than I wanted, but these are our hose clamps, which we're going to set. I'm going to get my Amazon box ready here. There we go. All right, 2 hose clamps. I'll wipe up a little spillage. We'll get to the rest of the spillage in a bit. Here's our 1 hose that we're going to be replacing. Now here, and it's kind of tough to tell, I'm going to take that other clamp off too. And I'm also going to reuse this foam. I'm just going to add on some extra. I'm going to add on just a little extra heat protection with the new one. But this guy will clean up. We'll look for any cuts or anything that might. I mean, you can tell that this is an old hose because he's very stiff. You can just feel it. It's like this doesn't want to bend very easily right here. And you fear that you could crack it. You can also check the ends of the hose. If you see cracking on the ends of the hose, that means it's time to replace it. I don't see anything like super visible with cuts or gouges or anything like that. But he is 30 years old. So actually 29 years old. He'll be 30 next year. Wait, yeah, he'll be 30 next year. I don't know. Is the Miata a girl? I haven't decided yet. Let's clean up some of this stuff up here. And now we have our lower. So on the, it's funny, they say return hose, but the Miata actually has 2 return hoses. There's an upper and a lower. And it's kind of confusing when you're looking for any sort of information on it because everyone just says power steering line return hose, but there's actually 2 return hoses. There's a large and a small. And that's why it's difficult to find kind of information about this because people don't really know it. Now, this is where my Miata is different than others. On the smaller return, mine actually goes to a hose. It's hose down to a hard line, which is a U shape, which goes into the power steering box. That little U-shaped hard line is the hard part to find. And that is what's called an MYC. It's a model year change. And that's only for the 96 and 97 cars. That hard line, little U-shaped hard line, is only for 96 and 97 Miatas. So when I'm looking for power steering lines, they're sending me pictures of these little tiny elbows, which is absolutely normal for all pre-96 cars. For my car, no. And I didn't find out about this until talking to Darren at Midwest Miata Parts. He was super cool, and he was like, yeah, sorry, but your car has a very rare part for the power steering line, and that's making it very difficult. So that's why we're waiting on parts versus just getting something off eBay or whatever, because it's not really the norm. So we'll get this. If we get this power steering reservoir out of here, that will give us a little more room to get down there. Now, the release for that line is way down. It's down actually kind of off the power steering rack, and I'm able to see it from here, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to get it from up top. Now, the other one I'm going to have to do up top here is the high pressure line. And it's only high pressure when the car is running. So don't worry about it if the car is not running. Also, since we're not working with anything electrical, we did not undo the negative terminal on the battery. I know someone's going to pipe up about that. You can. It is always a good, safety call to do that. But for something that's not electrical, that isn't requiring, any sort of power or anything, it's not. You can save yourself a step. You can if you want to. Those who are super safe, go ahead. I won't fault you, and no one will fault you for taking it off. It is safety, and that is always okay. But for this, I'm not doing this because it's one more step, and I have enough problems with steps in here. And if you look in here, I've got a little bit of oil in the MAF here. So might need a new filter soon. All right. So we get this guy out. I just need extensions on the 10. And this line is part of, that is the air conditioner clutch kick on, or engagement, which is also part of the clutch system. The clutch is a separate thing. Let me grab an extension for that 10 now. I do have a taller extension. I do. It's nice to have kind of regular tools. Oh, yeah, if you're watching on a phone, it might be a cellular thing. But I haven't changed any of the settings here. And also, power steering fluid is very slick. So we have our 10 millimeter bolt with a crusty head. Again, I'm just going to put that in the box with the rest of the parts. Another 10 millimeter bolt over here. And I'll show you the little folding tab that holds that AC wire in, as long as I don't lose him. This is our little tab, that holds, there he is. You can open him up, you put a wire in there, and then you can close him down. And you can put him on kind of any bolt hole, but he goes on the back side of the power steering. So we're going to keep him too. And we're going to bring our power steering reservoir out. Sorry. I know that's making noise. Clean this guy up a little bit. And our power steering reservoir is out. Set him in the cardboard box. Clean up down here a little. Now, see, I haven't replaced any of these lines. So I don't know how tight this stuff is going to be. Also, I don't think I'm going to be able to get a big wrench in there. Maybe I can. There is not a lot of room to get a wrench on this. But the other one, and I want to look at this down there. And this is the sleeve that I want to use. Oh, sorry, dead bug. This is the sleeve I want to use on the new one. Or I hope the new one comes with this neoprene sleeve, because this goes up against the frame rail and there's a whole bunch of other lines and stuff in the way. So that's a nice protected piece. And he's in good shape. He's not destroyed or anything. So I want to hang on to him. Oh, this line gets a lot of heat from the header and from, the coolant lines and all that other stuff. So I'm going to guess that that's where my leak is coming from. The leak is definitely below the oil pan, or below the power steering pump, I should say. So it is not coming from up above. I don't think. It could be. So we'll get I don't know. I guess, yeah, I want to get this line out of here first, and then we'll get to the high pressure line. The high pressure line will probably be the only other one we do tonight. And I'll have to do the bottom of the high pressure line without you guys. I don't think I can get a camera in there. It's going to be super tight. So I'm going to grab another light just so I can see the clamp down there. Because I can kind of see him, but I also don't want to pull off a coolant line clamp, right? That would be bad. Oh, yeah. Okay. Oh, of course you should shut off immediately. Oh, it's because the battery thing isn't tight. Okay. Actually, that's totally in my way. So I'm gonna, that I can't see him. That works a little bit better. Hopefully you guys can see where I'm putting this. I absolutely cannot see jack here. Yeah. When I do it like that, my hand blocks the clamp, or it blocks the light, so I can't see the clamp. Okay, there we go. I'm holding the clamp while I'm pulling the hose. So the clamp has stayed on the hose, like so. I know that's a little fierce. There we go. I believe I found our crappy line, maybe. I don't know for sure. This line is really hard. He has seen some better days. And let me get this clamp off of here. This hose clamp is actually still okay. He's a little corroded. We'll see if we can get him brushed up and cleaned up a little. Yeah, it's kind of tough to tell, but I think in here we have a small leak. It looks like the hose is either worn through or baked through. So, yeah, it looks like this is where our leak is coming from, or at least part of it. It might be in more than one place. Okay. So now our other line is down here. Yeah. So when I look down here, come down, yeah, there's a lot of crap baked on. Let's see if I can pull some of it up for you guys. I don't think I'm going to be able to. It all kind of falls off the rag. Can you guys see that? These hard particles? That's baked power steering fluid. So it's been leaking out of there for a while, and it's been baked on courtesy of the header, which is right here, the other coolant lines, which are right there. There's a lot of stuff that's been cooking that. So, okay, that's fine. That is fine. And down there is the hard line that we have to replace. And it goes down, over, down again, straight down, and then back in. So he has this U shape, and then he comes up at about a 50 degree angle. So that is the guy we need to look out for and try and find him. Yeah, that'll be fun. That'll be a lot of fun, damn it. Okay, so next off is this high pressure line. And I got to find a wrench. And for some reason, he looks 17, 18. Let's grab one of each. Give me a second here. 17, 18. Don't know for sure. Maybe 18, 19. My small wrenches, I don't go that large with this set. That is an 18. He's too small. That is a 19. And he is too small. Time to go to the big boys. And 21 is too small. Wow. 22 is the right size. Now, it is rare for JDM cars to have this is how I'm going to do this. I don't know. Can you guys, hopefully you guys can see that. Okay. So you watch that bracket flex. Another way to do this, and I've talked about this before, sometimes in order to get a bolt or nut loose, sometimes you go tight just a little bit, just to break the corrosion inside, and then you go loose. So that can really help you, when you're struggling with a bolt. It sounds counterintuitive with doing, I want it to come off, I don't want it to go tighter. Well, sometimes that works. I've had a lot of success with that, especially dealing with, tons of corroded stuff in Ohio. Now this guy's just on there finger tight. So we can get him off of there. Like I said, we don't have to worry about pressure because the engine's not running. This doesn't really create pressure until you have the engine running. So we're going to set him on here. We're going to grab, this is a 12 mil right here to release this bracket, the clamping bracket.
We're going to have to get that onto the new hose, which I'm not quite sure how to do, but we'll figure it out. But he's a 22. It's almost a full inch. Yeah, 15, 16. Let's grab 12 mil. And we'll do a little heavier duty socket here. So we don't have to keep swapping over. And this guy also, I'm sure, I'm trying not to smash my knuckles on anything. There he goes. Or just smash my wrist. All right. Now for this guy, I don't need this bolt until we come to reinstall this line. So I'm going to put this bolt back in place. This way I don't lose him. Just give him a couple of turns. He's going to be fine. Unless I need to do something to that bolt, there's no reason to keep him on there. Now this, I don't think I'm going to be able to slide him off. I'm going to have to open him up, slide him off, put him on the new one, and then re-crimp him. He's just crimped in there. And that's okay. We can do that. The rubber is still good inside. The rubber's stiff, but he's going to work just fine. So we'll keep this on just to keep contaminants and stuff out of there, bugs and boogers and everything else. He's just finger tight on there. I'm going to go underneath, and I don't know. Am I going underneath, or am I getting this guy from the top? I think, wow. The steering rack is in the way. The frame is in the way. And the coolant line is in the way. But he has a smaller wrench. So he also has a 12 millimeter helper down there. So I'm going to take that guy off first. And then, yeah. So I'll try and explain it. So he comes in from the side right here and goes into the power steering box, which is right here. Where the power steering box is, you have the frame, which is right here. And then you have the steering rack right here. And so you have to get to this little nut right here. And you don't have a lot of movement this way. He rotates that way. And then just above that, you have your coolant return line or coolant send line. So you have a very small area to work with down there to get that little guy out. I'm going to grab a just 12 mil metric combination wrench and get the set this guy to the side. Grab some Rockstar because got to keep going. Okay. So I'm going to bring this light back over here. Hopefully this light is not blinding you guys. Is that light okay right there? Okay. Now, this is where this rod gets in the way because I need my head right here, but I need it back just slightly. That's all right. So I can get this one. I'm going to go just a touch tight. And then I'm gonna move the wrench back that way. And then got him loose. And gravity takes the wrench from me. But you heard it hit the ground. And that's a good thing. Camera wrench back, thank you. Gravity is so unforgiving. He is not loose enough to do by hand. God, this is so obnoxious with this strut in the way. I don't have my power tools. I don't have a nice electric socket driver. That's a good one. I can't even turn my hand because the power or the AC lines are in the way. And everything's really tight in here. And that's definitely a credit to, JDM builds and all of that. They're very efficient with space. They at least try to be a little bit compassionate with regards to maintenance. Occasionally there's specialty tools, but nothing like the US. The US has crazy specialty tools. Okay. This is hard to do, an eighth of a turn at a time. And then I can't turn anything with my left hand. And I can get my left hand in there, but I can't get my right hand in there? What the hell? Okay. Okay. All right, I'm gonna do the same thing here. The bracket is going to get pushed out of the way. And then I'm going to put this bolt back in place. Maybe. I don't know if I can push the bracket out of the way far enough. How? Okay. So I can rotate. I can't though, because I can't get my hand in there. Okay. I can rotate the bracket out of the way. Oh God, that magnet. Yep. It's exactly what I knew. I knew that was going to happen. Damn it. I dropped the bolt. So, okay. Let's go back under the car again. Oh, you know what? That bolt's going to be way easier to get to from here. Where the hell did the bolt go? Oh, we got him. Okay. Yeah, I don't know about this line down here. This is going to be difficult, just putting it mildly. I am not quite sure how to get a wrench on there. I have an AC line here that's in the way, and the power steering rack. And then from up top, I have the column and the rack and the coolant line. So I'm just going to take a little feel on him. I'm going to go 15, 17 maybe. All right. It's getting a little tight back there, especially when you roll around too far. What do we got? Okay, lighting's still okay, cool. Yeah, I'm trying not to blind you guys. All right. So yeah, this one down below, the lower high pressure, the fitting for the high pressure line that's at the steering box is very difficult to get to. So let's grab a couple different sizes. 15, 16, 17. And see if we can find the right one to go on there. We're going to start small and work our way up. Oh, come on. And damn it. Okay, here we go. 15 is a no-go. Yeah, this is going to make fun sounds. So my apologies on that. 16 is also a no-go. I think 17 is going to be pretty close. Again, 17 is pretty common. And what do you know? It fits right on there. So now for this one, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to go just a touch tight. And then I literally have no way to go loose, because trying to go loose, I run into the lower coolant line here, and there's no way to get a second hand on there. Okay, maybe. Yeah, when he flexes right into that coolant line. I cannot flip the wrench and get the right angle on it. So let me try it from down below, possibly. I'm going to put these guys back. Since we know it's a 17. Now, how come I have this feeling that the new hose that I got has completely different fitting sizes? What are the odds that it has a 22 and a 17? Is anyone else unoptimistic about that? I'm not optimistic. Actually, you know what? Just for grins. Let me check the low side on that one. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's a different size. It's not a 17, it's an 18. All right, I'm going to go under the car and see if I can access it, at least start to break it loose. If I can break it loose, then I can do the wrench flip trick. But this is not an ideal spot for no. You can't, there's no way to get in here to turn this. As soon as the wrench goes on it right here, it's touching the steering rack. And then even if I, well, I'm gonna come over to the side. Maybe. I'm gonna try and bounce it tight and bounce it loose. Wow. Yep, there is no way to get enough movement on the wrench to move that. Damn. This kind of sucks. So I'm going to try something a little different with a different wrench. Where'd you go, buddy? That's the only one I have. I don't have it. Come on. All right, let's try this. So this is what sucks about not having your. When you have your nice tools, you can figure out solutions to this. So instead of using my really kick-ass crescent wrenches, I have just a stupid basic crescent wrench. And I really don't want to use this. God. Ah. So once again, I'm going to try the tight to go loose trick here. Oh my God. How am I in such a gnarly bad position to do this? My body position is just not correct. So just hammered him a little bit tight. I'm taking this thing off angle a little, which I do not like doing. God, he is absolutely stuck on the AC line right here. Hang on. God. I'm trying not to break him in there. But yeah. All right. So let's go up top here. This is not easy for a guy who's 6'1" coming out in between the cabinets and the Miata. This is a very tight fit right here. I hope you all are enjoying it. I am not. So yeah, there's no way to move the wrench this way. You can't flip it over and move it in either direction. And then that's from underneath. And then from up top, there's no way to move it this way or to flip it and move it this way more than just a couple of millimeters. So there's really not a lot of room in here. I've seen guys talk about this before, how it's a very, very tight fit. But this is crazy. So, okay. I think we're on right there. And then I'm trying to come back, but I have the radiator hose or the coolant hose in my way. This technically is the radiator hose. All right. I really don't want to use this. I really don't want to use this. And I can tell you right now, he's not going to work. Because even if I go, yeah, he's just too long. Even if I bring him off angle like that, well, I don't know, maybe. Nope. No. But we're not done yet. Because we know he's a 17, right? So, let's put these guys back. So, technically, this is the wrench we should have been using in the first place. This is a flare wrench. So he grabs on 5 sides, 1, 2, 3, 4, well, 4.5 sides. Your line comes through here. You slide it on the nut, and you can turn it on the nut. Then you can slide it off the line. And these grip really, really, really well. This guy's a little bit shorter. He might actually clear. In my defense, I forgot that I got these. Mechanics breakdancing. Yeah. Well, you guys enjoy that because I don't. I miss my lift, damn it. I miss my tools and I miss my lift. Oh. Oh, come on. All right. See if I can flip them around. Oh, he almost gets on there. All right, hang on. Okay. God. All right, let me try the flare from underneath. I don't think he's going to fit. I need a small breaker bar on this. And even then, it's going to hit the coolant hose. So when he comes, he has to come up like this. He hits the coolant hose right there, literally on contact. So I'm trying to push into the coolant hose. So I need like a short version of this or a U-shaped one with a stem so that I can go around the coolant hose. Which I guess is technically the lower radiator hose. Oh, come back here. Okay. It's not slip on that way. Oh, hang on. Hang on. I don't have enough leverage here. God. Holy shit. Wow. He is on there. All right. Well, I do have a wrench now that gives me enough room. But the problem is I can't get in there. I can't get enough leverage on him to get him loose. It's just ripping into my hand. And the AC lines are putting pressure on too. So let me see if I can grab this. And that might help a little bit. The edge on the wrench is pretty sharp. So we're going to double down on this. Grab it from the top. And that AC line is God. All right. Ow, ow, ow. Ow, ow. Well, I suppose, well, that doesn't really help us. Yeah, that thing is on there. So, instead of jacking it up further, or, yeah, I screwed up the wrench. Ah, come on. Now the wrench doesn't come off, there it is. Yeah, I don't want to, holy crap. All right, well, that guy's going to be fun. And the one that's going to be even more fun is the little flare line back there to do that guy. Because he's behind the frame. This whole thing is probably smarter to just drop the steering rack. That's probably the smarter way to do this whole thing. But yeah. Holy crap. Yeah, I don't know how I'm going to get to the hard line in the back there. That's going to be really difficult. I'm going to try and get some cat litter over here because we're going to have more leakage, I think, since I'm down here. Maybe a little human broom. Yeah. Yeah, you guys appreciate the my Australian breakdancing routine? All right. This guy started to spread out, and the nut down there actually started to strip. So that's why I stopped. I need to get some penetrant, thread penetrant on there and loosen that guy up. And I'm actually going to hose down all of the hard lines in there. So all those hard lines, there's 3 connectors. There's one on the far side. I told you this thing would always be in the way. There's one on the far side for the return. There's like a push and a pull. It's actually a push and a push. And so the far side, the near side, and then the return line hose, the smaller return line hose. I got to go get some thread penetrant to loosen those guys up. All of the corrosion, 30 years of Ohio has like locked all of those threads up. And instead of screwing up the threads in the power steering box and on the power steering rack, it's easier and cheaper for me to do thread penetrant and let it sit for 24 hours or 2 days or a week and let that stuff do its job. My favorite stuff is Deep Creep. I think it's made by Seafoam. It is a really tight fit back here. Like I can barely, there you guys go. That's how much room I have. My legs plus one hand on either side. That's how tight it is. I don't know why. I don't like these cabinets. I don't. They came with the house. I don't like them. These 2 boxes full of kids' VHS tapes and DVDs. I don't like those either. But they came with the house. All right. So we know the flare wrench will work, but we have to get some thread penetrant on there. And that is not ideal. God. That thing is just a huge pain in the ass. It's just a big pain in the ass to get to. They really packed it in there. So yeah, if I want to take the steering column off, I have to undo that bolt. There is no choice but to have a huge mess in order to get these lines off. And that's probably why you don't see a bunch of these videos, because it's a much bigger endeavor. So I'm pretty impressed with myself. I didn't tear the bitch mittens. So you have the big lines off, the reservoir out, and the big lines up top loose. Our biggest problem is corrosion. Corrosion is a huge problem. And this is why you don't buy a car above I-70, right? So please don't. I'm going to wheel you guys back over there, and we'll take some tools with us and just do the overshot again, because we're kind of done for tonight. There's a Grom. So the reservoir, the main return, and the small return hoses are off, but the high pressure line is not off because we need to get some something to take care of the threads on the fitting that's on the rack. That's also going to take care of the threads for the other parts of the fitting, or the other fittings on the rack. So now I'm just putting tools away. I have not abandoned you guys. I promise. 12. Keep it back there. Or tappy tap. Tappy tap tap. So that's kind of it. That's kind of as far as we can go right now. What I am going to do is just keep bugs and stuff out. Bugs are really good. And because I don't want to be kicking around this thing all over the shop. So I'm just going to sit him on there and set him on there. That keeps all the big stuff out. We have our box of Miata hoses and reservoir stuff, and we'll just keep those close to the car. See how often we can not trip on them. We have fairly clean hands, which is a good thing. And the Miata will get the penetrant, and then we'll get that other high pressure line off. The other end of that high pressure line off. For the two smaller ones in the back, which I think are 12 mil flares, I don't know how I'm going to get to those yet. Once I get the big line off,
I'll be able to have a better view. But those guys, I want to get loose and I want to get cleaned up and then torque them back down. Like I said, there's one on this side. This is the one side of the push. This is the other side of the push. It's hydraulic system, so it pushes back and forth. It pushes from the left side, pushes from the right side. And that's why you have two returns. You have the main return and then the smaller return, because you have two pushes. So it's pushing on both sides, and that's where your power for your power steering comes from. Power doesn't mean electric; it means hydraulic. So you have a hydraulic power steering, and you have a fitting on this side and a fitting on this side. And since this was an Ohio car, it has corrosion throughout. When I say throughout, I mean like throughout the entire car. So we'll, since I'm down here doing all this stuff and I'm trying to get this car, 100%, I'm going to take that off, clean up those threads, brush them out, get them as clean as possible. Same thing on the power steering rack, clean the inside of those threads, get it as clean as possible, get everything torqued down. This will also ensure a less leaking. When you get corrosion in there, it causes leaks, and that's what I'm guessing we're experiencing. The one hose did have a little section in it that I think can blow out and cause leaking. It's just an age thing. But the corrosion thing is because of where the car's lived. And so we'll try and take care of all of that stuff. Corrosion's awful, man. It really is. It's, I'd say in Florida, I'm not missing it down here, but when you have a car like this, with 11,000 different parts on it, and most of them are steel, and then you take it to a place like Ohio, where any kind of exposed metal begins corroding in the first 5 minutes. And if you don't believe me, go take a zinc plated screw, cut off the end, set it outside, come back and check it in an hour. It will have corrosion on the section you cut. Don't believe a word I say. Go do it for yourself and watch what happens. It doesn't need to snow. It doesn't need to be a road that's getting plowed. It doesn't need to be winter. It doesn't need to be anything. Not raining, nothing. Cut a bolt, set it outside, untouched, on a deck or on a table somewhere. Watch, come back in an hour, it'll be corroded already. It's in the air, and that's part of it, So when you have something like this, that I'm sure the previous owner drove it in the winter. There was a ton of corrosion when I first got the car. I've cleaned up a ton of it. I haven't done anything with the steering rack until now because we had the power steering failure. So now I'm doing all this stuff that, it's been corroding for years and years and years. So we'll take care of it now, and it'll last years and years and years down the road. But that's kind of as far as we can go tonight I don't have any really kick-ass, penetrating lubricant. I definitely have to go get some. And the stuff I normally use is Deep Creep. That's, of all the stuff I've tested, that's by far the best. So I'll grab a can of Deep Creep and I'll hose that area down. And hopefully tomorrow night we can take that hose off and see if we can somehow get access to those other two fittings on the driver's side rear portion and the passenger side rear portion of the steering rack. I have a sneeze coming and I'm trying to hold it back. I can feel it. It's coming. Anyway, that's about it for tonight. I really appreciate you guys hanging out, and my apologies about the lighting and not being able to see all the way down there. But traveling this entire distance, from here all the way down is a little difficult with just one camera. So we'll get more cameras set up here and hopefully get more people in here so that you guys can actually see what the hell I'm doing. And also I'll try and find a camera that I can use from underneath so you can see what I'm doing underneath. But I really appreciate you guys hanging out, and I appreciate all the new subscribers. Last year was huge for subscribers, and I'm hoping this year is just as huge. I'm so happy that you guys like what I'm doing here, and you're you're watching, you're spreading the word, you're talking with other people about it. I really appreciate that. Like I said, this is all organic. There's no advertising, there's no boosting, there's nothing like that. I don't get paid a dime for this. I don't have a single sponsor, and I'm doing this to help you guys out, and because it's fun for me, and I enjoy doing it. So I'm going to keep doing it as long as I can. If you guys have any questions, comments, whatever, please put them down there. I read everything. So everything you put in there, I'm happy to take suggestions too. If there's something you want to see in here, whether it's car or motorcycle, or I guess my neighbor's got a boat. I haven't worked on boats in a long time, but if you really want, yeah, if there's something you want to see up here, just shoot me a note and we'll try and get it in here. My buddy Leo just got a new to him Honda S2K. I believe it was the AP2, might be an AP1. Really cool car, and so hopefully we can get that here in the shop. You guys can take a look at that. The K24, the K24 engine is really cool. So hopefully we can get him down here and get that car in. And I don't really have any other cars. It's kind of it. We will definitely, I talked with, that's another thing we're going to be doing this month is I talked with Brian DePaul, and we're doing some new brake system stuff in the MR6. So when I'm back in Ohio in a couple of weeks, we will have, we'll be doing removal of the old brakes and putting on the new brakes. And the only thing is I have to get the new brake calipers disassembled, totally cleaned, and powder coated and clear coated so that they can go on the car. So yeah, we got some parts that we have to prep for when I'm back there, and hopefully we get that done, in the next week or so. Let's see, it's Thursday, so Friday. So yeah, hopefully next week we can find those parts, get them taken, apart and cleaned up and over to the powder coater so that when I'm back, we can reassemble and put them on the car. But yeah, we've got some really cool braking system stuff coming, and we're trying to get the car to brake a lot better and reduce the snap oversteer, and also keep the car level as we're powering through turns instead of nose diving so hard or back end sliding out. We want to keep the car as level as possible. So Brian DePaul came up and he had graphs and charts and stuff. It was really cool. And yeah, it all made total sense. So we're gonna try and get the MR6 back to like totally flat, even under power, even under braking through turns, and that'll be a lot of fun. So hopefully we can do that when I'm back in Ohio in a couple of weeks. And that's about it. We've got 24 Hours of Daytona coming up. I'll definitely be doing live streams from that, especially in the middle of the night when, half the people are passed out and, crashing out. I'll be up and I'll be live streaming with you guys. It'll probably be from the phone though. I don't think it'll be from the laptop. So hopefully you can appreciate that. I'll take some of the other gear so that it won't be Blair Witch Project. And yeah, that's kind of it for the next few weeks. If, like I said, if you have any questions, comments, whatever, put them below, text me, whatever. I really appreciate you guys, and I love hearing from you. I love seeing the messages, XYZ, subscribe to your channel. Those are great. I love getting those emails. So yeah, keep them coming. Definitely tell your friends if they like watching stuff like this. Maybe they have some ideas on what they want to see. I'm all open, totally open to ideas. So yeah, thanks everyone. I appreciate it. Please have a great night, and don't forget to show someone you love them today. Give them a kiss on the cheek, give them a kiss on the nose, hold their hand, give it a squeeze. It's really important for them, but it is far more important for you. All right, thanks everyone. We'll catch you tomorrow and get these things loose. All right, have a great night. Damn corrosion.